Let's get it. Let's get it done. All right. Okay. So I've actually been thinking about Saya quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, she's technically kind of very strong. She's probably like the nerf on her will probably make it so that either Diva or Winston might just pull ahead in the meta game, but uh, Saya's not gonna be dead. Let's put it that way. She's not gonna be dead. She's gonna be weaker. She's not gonna be dead. If the nerfs are true, I mean, they're still just leaks at this point. Uh, but one thing I thought about, which I think will probably be really strong, is if we look at okay, let's look at you here, right? One thing I kind of I figured out is because you know when they gave Junkrat 2 mines, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people were theorizing like you could put down a mine and then wait
Until the
for
second
your
one. Yeah.
exactly. So you know that, and that got me thinking: how do you utilize that on Saya? And what I've sort of like figured out is if you go for an initial sort of like bubble grab, let's call it like a 40 charge grab, right? Let's say you're playing like here, you go for an initial 40 charge. If you just play slow until you have 1.5 bubble, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
on that 1.5, you can just bubble yourself. By the time that bubble will be down, you're
You
gonna
can charge
have that one back. So you're gonna have like you're gonna have 3 bubbles basically uptime without like with just a little bit of setup. And I think abusing that will actually get you a lot further than you are right now.
It's
Um.
by the way on console. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Oh my lordy lord. Okay, right. Well.
Same principle applies though. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, there's because like the game sense wise, it's exactly. I've never coached a console game, I think, but we'll give it a try. Okay, yeah, I can see the tracking is okay. Yeah, fair enough. Um,
I'm immediately not playing slow as well. So
to be fair, it's kind of worked out for you with the
okay.
fact that you have this much.
The tracking is actually insane.
It's interesting. Okay, immediately just
Stop
it.
shooting at me.
You can farm Diva for sure, but I wouldn't say farming Diva is your main concern right now because you're not winning by killing Diva, or like, well, you're not killing Diva. Is probably more like it. Unless you just have like a lot of like team focus, that is better to like that.
Does it make sense
Don't
to
think-
focus the diva there though?
if she's like breaking line of sight to her
I should be
supports, and
shooting
you
away
feel
at
like
her. Yeah.
you yeah, like the thing is like if she's breaking line like to her supports, and you feel like you can focus her down as a team, sure. Farming her is sort of okay, but like you're not close to a graph or any kind of like power spike. So I would just, you know, like if you can focus her down to the point where she can't stay where she is anymore, it's okay. But yeah, this is more like it. Although the tracking is
It's questionable.
interesting. Yeah, that's fine. So like at this point, like when you're finding yourself at this point where you have 83 charge, 1.5 bubble, if this is ever a scenario, you can go really aggressive because that's sort of what I realized is you can bubble yourself now, and by the time that bubble is either expired or dead, you're gonna have that second bubble, and you're gonna have 100% charge. So think about it: you can stay with full charge in an aggressive position for so long. And then like by the time the last like the second bubble is down, you're either like a quarter or halfway to
The next one.
the next one again. So like with a little bit of clever cover usage, or if you have picks, you just keep walking. You just keep walking, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
this is a bit far, but
I don't know why I was expecting them to take high ground there. It didn't really make sense, but
I was gonna say you can hear and you can see them. Like you can just look.
this was behavior hours, okay? We don't question it.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay. We're gonna allow it. Because you do have follow up. You didn't have charge, but you did have follow up, so it's okay.
This Ash ring around a Rosie'd me as well, but
Wait, is this a scrim?
no, this isn't a scrim. This is a comp game, by the way. Just like
Okay, I was gonna say because if this is a scrim, whoa, what the hell are your team doing? Okay. It's not too much to say. It's been kind of smooth sailing so far.
would you say that's smooth sailing because I've been doing Overwatch
Well,
stuff?
I would say like sort of like definitely you did well with like your kill and your graph spike and everything. Like only questionable thing is like maybe grabbing a bit later when you have charge, but
Yeah.
you had a pick already and you had follow up. Farming the diva is like is very much a situation of like I can like farm this diva to deny her space, which is okay. But like once she backs out of that space, your second reload and your second bubble should just be used to push in on the supports now when diva has backed off, right?
Yeah.
Like just don't like because the diva's just gonna go like diva plays here, you farm diva backs out, diva gets healed in this location by whatever comes like from here. Diva goes back, and it's like, okay, you farmed X percentage ult charge, and but so has she, right? So it's like at that point she's given like ult charge back and forth, and you haven't really gained a whole lot because you've not taken space, you've not gotten kills. So farm her,
Make her
force
back
her
up
out.
and then take the space that she's given up. And then just
Next iteration of like of bubble and reload where you have 100 ammo. Find a one of the like she's left one of the supports hanging. Let's say the Moira in that scenario. Force out cooldowns on the Moira, like force out fade on Moira. In this scenario, it's a lot easier to kill an out of position like Mercy than it is a Moira because Moira is gonna fade out. But even Mercy can like go to the high ground. If you find like Ash dropping from a high ground or something like that, you swap on that Ash, of course, because the Ash is she has the worst escapability out of any of these characters. Mercy can fly to another target. She can fade. She can teleport out, and obviously Saya, well, or Diva back then, Saya now. Obviously, we don't really want to focus them if we haven't done anything. So, like, think about like what is the target that is most likely to kill. Like, for example, if you see Moira fade in, then you know Moira doesn't have fade for fade out. Then you swap to that target and kill it. You just push in on that. So there's it's a bit contextual, of course, right? But you have to like that's the kind of like things you I want you to like think about on your engages. It's okay to force the enemy tank out. You're not gonna force a Saya out the way you can force a Diva out with Saya. Like if you have Saya with charge, you can force a Diva out pretty easily. Like what's she really gonna do? She's such a big target, you can beam her down, right? You're not gonna force a Saya out. Chances are, if you're trying to force a Saya out, you're probably just feeding her energy, and you really don't want to do that. This spamming of like where there just isn't any people, hoping that they're just gonna pass into it, is the most console thing I've ever seen.
I don't know what am I doing? Why was
I,
I not
I,
shit?
I really don't know what are you. You explain this one to me, Mo. So I might be the coach, but I'm not sure I understand.
I don't know.
What are you doing? Interesting. Interesting behavior is what we're gonna call that one. Just spam bubbles in Kitsune, by the way. You get them back so quick.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed. That's what I was saying. That's what I said not too long ago in the server. It's like this seems pretty
Yeah.
good. I should have chased that.
The thing is like Kitsune Rush isn't like one of the reasons why it's really good for Saya is the fact that she depletes ammo faster, and if you have charge, obviously that's just really high DPS. But like, you also don't die in Kitsune Rush as a Saya because you can just bubble,
So much.
bubble,
Yeah.
bubble, bubble, and it's like, all right, okay, cool.
Yeah, I
Would you
expect.
say like farming charge on Saya is a bit more difficult on console because people overall hit less? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my
Because
god, this is
tracking and
so
stuff like that
choppy.
is more. Hmm?
Look, just could you just pause it for a second? This is just a bit choppy.
I'll pause it. I can restart the stream too.
Both of my downloads are paused, so it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be choppy right now. We'll just keep on going. It should be fine. It's like it's not interfering too much. It's just a little bit annoying. I should have bubbled my Genji there.
Hmm. Absolutely.
He
You
didn't
know
call it out
yourself.
there. He didn't call it out there. He was like, "I'm gonna blade this fight." I was like, "Okay, just tell me when you go and I'll bubble you." And then he said,
In all
"Okay."
fairness, just if you watch a Genji like just there in that position anyway,
I should have
like
known, but it was just so
just poke,
fast.
but also just poking. Like if he's just standing there and poking, like are you like right in this scenario? Even if the Genji doesn't actually go in,
You
if the
should already be
Genji just
bubbling him. Yeah.
plays, yeah, I was gonna say like you should just bubble him anyway because the thing is like who's most likely to grab charge? A Genji that is poking in this location or a Saya that is poking in this location? He's like right at the exit of their entire like poke force. Like why wouldn't you just bubble him anyway? And you're not in any immediate danger over here. You're fine. Like you're not very likely to just melt in this position unless some crazy like what do I know, visor damage boost thing happens, which it's not gonna happen right now. So why aren't we just bubbling him anyway, really? It's my better question. Like in this scenario, like just we know he's about to go for like something here. Just bubble him.
Yeah, he probably lives as well. If I do bubble him.
Questionable because he is not able to get out through the same way, and he's kind of easily chaseable if he's dash starved. I don't think the bubble is necessarily what would have made him live here, but maybe a dash would have made him live here. I think this is maybe. Well, I mean, do you want to know if it's a his mistake or is it your mistake? Well, I'll really quickly find out for you. We'll just take it from his perspective. We dash in, we dash starve ourselves, and at this point, that is what has killed us. So I wouldn't say maybe a bubble would have saved him there, but I don't think so because that Saya has energy. So even like they're gonna burn through that bubble and kill him anyway. What has killed him here is the fact that he dash staffed himself. A little bit of coaching for your random Genji there.
Not random. We were a 5-stack.
Oh, he's not random. All right, well you just gonna tell him just fucking stop dash starving yourself, Papega.
I'll tell him now.
Maybe don't say it like that. Maybe don't say it like that.
He's fine. He's a big boy. He can take criticism.
Oh, all right. To be fair, it's a console blade, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that it might be a little bit more difficult. I could imagine it would be more difficult to blade. Like you probably aren't doing as many 180s to like dash back and
Yeah.
forward as you can on PC. Like if we're being honest here, so like blading on console, I could imagine is a lot more about just getting people in the frontal cone and not so much getting people where you can like chain because I could imagine chaining is really difficult on console. Whereas like on PC you can go like but on console it's like how the fuck do you do that? So it's probably like on PC it's probably more about having people in this sort of area and then going like in one direction. Could imagine something like that. Because like how many 180s are you realistically pulling off in a blade when you have a max sort of turning speed? Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. Graph. Just do it. You already have a pick, you can seal the entire deal by just grabbing. At this point, it's fine. You've already won. Except that Bob could have been dangerous.
I don't know
That's
why I'm not
fine.
shooting him here, but
In all fairness, I wouldn't risk losing this fight there. I would have just grabbed. But
ah,
it's honestly, it's turned out good for you. I think this is a bit too far pushed up. I don't think your team is very ready to follow up on this. And yes, you have charge. That's really good. I like that. But the thing is if you have targets that are hard to kill, and if those targets have any kind of help, like Mercy and Moira, realistically, you can't really do the thing anymore where you like right click melee, and that'll be enough to just kill everything. Like you're probably just beaming down one target if you don't have help from your team. Do you have help from your team? You do have help. Okay. Your team is actually further up than I expected here. Okay, no, that's fine.
I knew
We'll
I
take.
knew they were ready.
Okay, okay.
Although
Team is fast. We like it. Honestly, like you said, this was a bad game. I don't
oh
think it
no,
is so far.
yeah. I'm really sorry for what you're about to watch.
There's like a few things where it's like, okay, but it's worked out great so far. Okay, all right, let's pull further up then, I guess.
I'm really sorry, Mick.
That's all good. It's all good. Okay,
It's
let's see.
it's not all good.
Okay,
Shooting bubbles.
so yeah, I was gonna say like at this point we're just like having a mutual agreement with Saya that we're both gonna be the raid bosses. Don't we're gonna be the carries real quick. Just grab charge from both of us, and then you go on your merry way over and doing something here, and she just goes this way. Just ignore each other, right? Just what is that? What is that? You're just like, thanks for the charge. Let me give you some charge. Nice! We both have charge now. Great! Why? She's even come out on top of it because she got it later. She has it so like at the time where you're a bubble down, she can like push you. Why? Why? Okay, well, I don't even need to tell you what's wrong there. Grab your charge, be on your merry way, prepare with extra bubble and reload to engage on the squishy. Oh boy. Okay. Console tracking is difficult. Got it.
Do you think I would have killed her? I think I would have killed her if it was PC. To be fair,
To be fair, yes, you would have. You would have 100%.
this is one
Because
of
that wasn't a hard position to track her in either. Like she wasn't even looking at you.
yeah.
And she wasn't trying to be moving erratically or anything. Like you would have probably just killed her. That's a hack. That's a decent target to go on then. All right. Nice. This is fine.
Yeah, just out of range.
I was gonna say probably start thinking about flipping position. Yeah, good. I think you can make the jump up there, by the way, but that's probably difficult on console. I think you can like right click
Yeah,
jump
from
this, right?
there, I think you can do that. Just
Yeah,
not
I'm
even mentioning going
fairly
up.
sure because the right click jump is pretty high.
It is. It's really high now.
hmm
It does make parkouring on Zarya a lot more fun.
hmm
More charge for her.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
happy to say like your bubble usage is sort of okay in this game. What I would really like for you to like hard focus on is I want you to really think about what you're shooting.
Yeah.
Like I want you like next time you play Overwatch, I want you to just think, what am I shooting here? And rather than shooting getting a fast target acquisition and shooting something really early in the fight, just don't shoot anything and be like 1, 2, 3. We go for number 2, which in this case might be a Moira without a fade, right? Instead of just because you're always gonna see the Sire first, and you have this tendency to shoot the first thing you see, where you feel like, oh, I need to get value now by shooting the Sire, like now. And then what that does is that you tunnel vision on that target for all of the fight. So rather than that, grab charge early, wait for a few more targets to push up to where the Sire maybe is, and then be like, okay, there's a Sire, there's a Moira. I shouldn't shoot the Sire, I shoot the Moira, and then go for the Moira. Just taking that little extra time and having that little bit of downtime in your decision making, but then getting like a good tunnel vision on what's actually important is really good. The next step is then to be like, okay, I didn't kill Moira in time, she's faded out, but now Mercy has flown up. Mercy doesn't have Guardian Angel, we target swap to Mercy. Like that's the next step. That's the next sort of like adding on to it. But in the beginning, I wanted to make sure to just play a bit slower and actually make sure that you go for the right targets, because we are still a massive mistake is we're still focusing the tank because that's just the easiest to get to target. And then it seems like, okay, surely we just focus that. Cool.
Shooting bubbles.
Winning in ultimates. Cool.
I was scared they were going to C9. I'm not realizing that we did kill all 5, so I didn't need to be. But
Yeah. Because of this positioning, just push up. I don't even need to say too much. There's only a few things I need to say.
yeah, we still haven't got to the bad bit yet. It's when I start trying to play Diva.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I felt like the Fire was getting too much value, but she definitely wasn't.
we've again just gone for the easy target in the front. We just I am so confused as to what has happened in your decision making there. Fairness. Outside of staying entirely too close to a Sire with charge, which you know that she has because you fed her most of that charge, then
Not
this is
bubbling
not
as
too
well.
bad. It's not a bad like grab, but you're just staying really close to a Sire that has charge. All right, here we fucking go.
Oof, why am I not going after that Fire? I'm not DMing the Fire, I just saw my Kiriko as one and getting shot at.
Okay, let's see here. Well, okay, immediately,
Gotta keep guessing.
if you're not gonna like land a full combo of like your micro missiles, primary fire, and melee into that Pharaoh, you're not killing that Pharaoh for the pocket, so the mercy.
Yeah.
I think honestly, one of your biggest mistakes is the fact that you're just not really good at target decisions. You're not very good at like prioritizing the important targets. You always tend to go for the easy targets instead of go for the position that makes it easier to kill the right targets, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You always play down main, and then it's like you do catch out, oh wait, I shouldn't be shooting Saya. Mick has been telling me that. But then you look at the Mercy, but because the Mercy is moving over here, you're like, ah, nah, and then you spot the Moira and you beam the Moira. And it's like that is an entire event of like things. Whereas if you just literally played a like high ground position, like here,
I could just
you
shoot the
have
Mercy.
You can just shoot the Mercy, especially because the Mercy doesn't have Guardian Angel, because she just used it, right? Or not Guardian Angel. What is it called? It is
Valkyrie.
called Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
the VPV bugged. Hang on. Because if we look at her, hang on. She's used it like as you're going forward here. She's used it like there, meaning that right now she doesn't have it. You've gone for the hack target here, and well, you've actually started by going for the Sire, but then you've realized no, actually Moira. And then meanwhile, there's a Mercy without Guardian Angel right there, and a high ground right here that makes you fully able to just because remember you also remove her self heal by just pelleting her. Can't. Wait, hang on. Back on you. She does kind of end up making a bit of a mistake there.
Oh, fuck
Alright.
me.
Oh, we're taking a lot of damage and swapping targets so much. Another reason why just standing up here is like a better idea is you can isolate targets, you can focus targets, whichever target you want to focus, and if you need to break line of sight, it's fine. Like if you like, you don't have to hold the payload right here. I understand the Hanzo or the Pharah might be difficult if you don't use cover, but if you just play slow here and let them push in here, all of a sudden you have like the best position possible because this entire thing will just block them off so hard, and you can isolate targets. And at that point, like the Hanzo is probably looking to take this area or this area anyway, and now you really come into play because you can contest both super easily. But like standing down main now is like it's gonna be very difficult for you to get any kind of value because you can't just push in here. Like you're gonna take a lot of spam damage, especially since they have Sire. So what do? We let them push a little bit and we try to hold the high ground because all of these people are either going this way or contesting high ground spots, and you're really good at like just making that Hanzo not do what he want to do, right? And also you have the ability that if the Sire is like if the Sire is pushed with payload, let's say payload is like here, and you have the enemy Sire is like here,
The
some of her
supports are
squish
going to be isolated.
supports are going to be in a spot where you can stand like right here and you can shoot down on those, or you can even stand here and you can isolate completely, because that Sire is gonna have a hard time getting to you on the high ground, because you can just like literally move a little bit into the high ground. So if you move a little bit, like if you're here, how does she beam you? Like she could maybe beam you here, but that forces her back. Okay, let's say she goes there. Okay, that's fine. We just move a little bit further into the higher ground and cover more of our hitbox. And she's gonna be like that classic scenario where you see a Saya just like beaming up, trying to hit that one pixel of Diva. And it's like, okay, well, cool. That forces the Saya to go really aggressive. She either has to come to you to get value on you, or like the long rotation to get value. And that opens an opportunity for you to just go for the squishies. So I think this is a scenario of play smarter, not harder. And we're trying to play hard here. And we're not gonna do much with it. Actually, there's a great opportunity to, you see, like you're in that scenario now where it's like, okay, now you can actually contest those. You can isolate people like however you want with just that high ground, this bridge. But because we decided to force a fight and lose resources, we've basically just lost so much space now. Whereas if we had just been like, okay, make the call, chill for a minute, take high ground, and then play here, let them push the way they just would push normally, you now have an opportunity to isolate and get value on targets that you will. But it's too late. It's too late. You've lost resources, you're forced to reset, and you're probably just going to get snowballed here.
I've still actually got micro missiles as well, so I haven't even used that resource.
Oh, micro missiles aren't being used at all. I think you're afraid of feeding the diva desire, but I think you're kind of doing it anyway. I don't know. You haven't used micro missiles.
Would you even say that the fire is a problem here?
The thing is Farah is rarely as much of an issue as people think she is, because the thing is like Farah. There's two ways to deal with a Farah. You play hit scan and kill her. Like you play like the soldier and then kill her, or like another character and then kill her. So you focus these two targets. But the thing is, if Mercy is always on this Farah, right? And these two, if these two are always like a unit, so to speak, how do they make you lose? They make you lose by combined going and killing like these targets. Hmm.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: if that's the case, then let's say the Moira is trying to keep the Saya alive, and the Mercy is trying to keep the Pharah alive. You just play really quick and get rid of this one, right? So basically, there's two ways to deal with pharmacy. You either deal with it like forcibly by shooting at the pharmacy and denying them to live and to exist, or you play really fast against whatever else they have, to the point where pharmacy doesn't get any value because you've just overwhelmed the rest and caught like pharmacy off on a thing. Because if these two are like going somewhere together, chances are you can overwhelm the rest. So that's two ways of playing. I wouldn't say she's too much of an issue. And my bigger question is, I honestly think nowadays that Saya isn't a bad tank pick anymore to deal with it anyway, because the bubbles you can give to people will protect them as well, give you charge, and tracking down like a pharmacy with Saya and denying them space because they can't push into a vicinity of you on high charge because you'll just deal damage to them is not a bad idea. Like this idea of like playing Diva to fly to the Farah and poke the Farah and like DMing her rockets. I think that's a scenario of the past, really. Doesn't have to be like that anymore.
Okay.
So that is my uh thought process on that. Process. Process. I don't know. Process, I guess.
You can do either. Process or process mean like it's the exact same thing.
But like, is there like a difference between like the origins of it? Like, is one of them like the American pronunciation and one of them is the
One
UK?
of them is the my pronunciation, one of them is the not my pronunciation. You choose.
You say process, right?
Process.
Process. Huh. Anyway,
I'm guessing
that's
it's
baffled me.
American process. DMing Zarya Beam. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. This is the classic scenario of Diva, where it's like, I'll feed her the grab so I can eat it. She must be close to grab. I'll play in her face so she can definitely get it, and then I'll eat it. Oh wait, I didn't eat it. This is a lot better, but I think at this point, like you just lose an ultimate, right? Or win an ultimate. Sorry, not lose.
You know, like the I was trying to get the eat on the old for you, Mick. You know like the classic TikTok. Um, this is disgusting. What you're about to watch now as well. She just does not die. Holding DM because I know she wants to grab.
I mean, at this point, like what I would do to get her to graph is I would just play, um, like I would play this side because you know she's gonna push into graph, and as she pushes in, I'll just DM it. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't because like if like if you're looking at each other like this, obviously she's just gonna wait until you have that 1 second lockout of DM anyway. Like, and she's not gonna throw it in. Like, any good side is not gonna throw it into this. Like, no. So at this point, I think what you're trying to do is you're not trying to eat graph, you're trying to delay graph being used, which I don't think is the right play here.
I kept on telling myself,
Also,
yeah, I do actually back up and go high ground here. I was like, make sure you lot get out so she didn't grab while I try to fly back to high ground. And he kept on
yeah.
saying no, so I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go then and don't get grabbed. Oh, bit of Danish for you there. Oh, that boop is so annoying.
Yeah, I think the diva pick is probably not super great here, especially not the way you're. I'm not saying you're playing diva like optimally either, but I don't think the pick is good either for you. I don't think it's doing much for you. I think you're just at this point giving them more graphs and more energy and everything.
They still haven't used grab either.
Nope, they have not.
This is where stuff becomes intense, in my opinion, though, because it's like they haven't.
There's a bubble out there. At this point, I'll just bump.
Trying to
If
engage.
nothing, the bump slows down their engage a little bit, but the bubbles are out as well, and pharmacy has used their movement. What is happening?
I was looking away so I don't feed a charge. That's
Slide bump? Okay. Interesting. You'd normally never do a slide bump, but I guess it might work on console. I don't know. Because the thing about a slide bump is that it well, okay, there's a few reasons. Because a slide bump is more predictable in where exactly it's gonna go. And also because if you're sliding it in here, like there's a bunch of locations where like you can just like dash up to this high ground or dash up to this high ground and it's fine. Whereas if you do the curved one where you try to have it explode in the center of the verticality as well, it's like you wanna have your bump explode like somewhere like in that area in the middle, because then it doesn't matter if you're on this high ground or this high ground. The shockwave is a sphere and it'll get everything. So it eliminates safe spots essentially. So like there's two things when placing diva bombs that you want to really care about. You want to get as many cross sections as possible. So the perfect diva bot spot bomb spot here is like somewhere like having it explode like right here where my not my camera is, but like where I am at right now, because you get some of this archway, you get some of this, you get all of the main, you get some of that inside, you get this high ground, and you get this high ground as well. Or at least the beginning of it. You can't peek too much into it. So this just makes it really, this eliminates how many spots people can live in. And that's why you do the normal like boosters and then try to have it explode roughly here, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, the sliding is generally as you go up in skill level, sliding a bump unless it's just like unless you're doing like a shatter bump where you're just putting it behind a Rhine shield and you want to like do something like that, or not a shatter bump, but like in Overwatch 1 it would be shatter bump. Now I guess it would be bump to get access to people's, like maybe like you do like a bomb blossom or bomb. What else is a
EMP.
decent thing? EMP bomb doesn't matter because you kind of want to bump in and then EMP anyway. But I guess EMP is okay too because at that point you're removing people's abilities. Yeah. So there's a few scenarios where it's okay is what I'm saying, but like 99% of the time you just want to have it in that middle space to deny as many angles as possible is the best way, I guess. Has to be covered.
This is why I was apologising though, because I've thrown bomb in and I was like, okay, this Zarya is gonna die, and then Zarya did not die, and then I was like, but I still want Zarya to die though, and then I just kind of Sit around. Why don't I just go sit on high ground? That's a very good question, Mick. Why don't I do that? Oh, I do go do that actually. I've just left their Zarya to kill my backline, so now I'll have to turn around again.
Well, I mean, the best question is just sort of like, why isn't your initial thought on tank just to sit on the high ground?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, why not really? That should always be the default. And as I've told you many times, it's like you can go away from the high ground. There's reasons to leave the high ground, but it's just like your initial play is never high ground. And whatever like your initial play is main, and you can always turn your play into main from high ground. That's very easy, but it's incredibly difficult to turn main into high ground mid fight because now you have to rotate up to a high ground or use a cooldown like boosters or something like that. And it's like this is now all of a sudden very difficult. But you can just start high ground and then turn it into main if that's the way that you feel like that's where the value is at, you know? Options. You need options. Okay. We've realized that the carry has to come out. Got it. We do
Absolutely.
start off by just giving her a bit of charge. You either love to see it or you hate to see it.
Bit more charge.
Oh, we're lost. We're lost with a
Yeah.
capital L. Yeah, this is not too bad. We forced the fade out. That's a good cooldown. We forced her to heal up herself as well. That's not too bad either. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter because at this point they have too much positioning and too many ultimates at this point. Oh boy, mamma mia. It's a tragedy.
You're just enjoying a little bit of a scroll through.
Yeah, I was just trying to get like to the point where like there's meat on the bone
Do you think
rather
this high
than.
ground's better than the other high ground?
I think this high ground is better to hold as a team for sure. I think like the thing is it's not very feasible to hold this. Like that's not very feasible. It's too accessible. There's too many sightlines from like their spawn and their good cover. Like even like a widow just here, it's like that's already kind of making that meh, if you know what I mean. So I think what the way I'd look at it is this is good initial resource farming and just a little bit of poking and a little bit of stalling. You get some of your ultimates going a little bit here initially. You get some charge going here. You slow this part down a little bit. But where the real hold is gonna happen is gonna be
Yeah,
on
on
gas station.
Earls. Yeah.
Yeah, gas station is where the real hold is. This is basically if you're thinking about like Route 66, the part that is difficult for the attackers to deal with, if we take the there's always like main and then there's sections or like fights. And this one is always built up to initial. Actually, hang on. Let's just draw them in a different color to be fancy. Initial you rarely hold initial unless you're spawn camping like inside train with like brawl or something like that and you die on payload, right? Which is a common strat, at least in Overwatch 1. I don't know the logistics of it in Overwatch 2. Anyway, then you have your second fight, which is just basically this entire area. And then you have the recontest slash like last scrappy fight area. For the two last ones that are the interesting ones, the big issue of pushing this is gonna be the fact that you have cover high ground that can see
Everything.
pretty much like everything for the last two fight areas. Like all of this space here, like all of where that payload has to push through, you can see from this high ground. with cover, with decent cover. I would even say superb cover. Um, like you have this hard cover here, but you also just have the vertical cover of the high ground, meaning you can see less of them. Like you can only see like a bunch of them if you push into the high ground. So this high ground is very, very oppressive, and the name of the game for the attackers is to deal with this high ground. One of the few ways that you would use to do is because you'd play like a double shield poke on this high ground, right? So one of the things you'd use to do is you'd push the payload up to like this position here, and then you'd force everyone underneath the gas station, because if you're playing underneath it, that removes that sideline from the high ground. And then if you have, you can push the payload all of this stretch by having a person just like next to this, under like this high ground. That forces one of them. It would usually be like a Sigma or like a Tracer or something like that to go and contest payload, and then you just like collapse on that one target. Which is, this was one of the like counter plays that you used to have to this high ground. Nowadays, I'm not so sure if, I still think the logistics is to get a pick and then go and clean up, or to just play underneath, because this high ground is just so hard. Like as a team, if you're playing in a scrim, playing underneath here is just such a power position, because you can really just get that payload along. Chances are you're forcing a mistake, because chances are like they're gonna like want to do something. And if nothing really happens anyway, at this point, you get a free rotation where you can take very little damage as a team and you can get onto them. Especially if you're playing dive, you don't even need to do a free rotation, because you can just heal up to full, get your dive, like your jump in and everything, and then you can just like start going for stuff. But anyway, that wasn't really the point. This high ground is really good. That was a long way of explaining what you just wanted to know, but I feel like we need to go into like the context, especially because I know you like macro stuff. So we'll get. I'll give you the bonus tour. You know,
The VIP.
the VIP. We're taking the scenic route.
Do you like this? I'm alt firing into squishies rather than messing about with. Okay, well now I've just swapped. Now I'm gonna drop and yeah, I'm feeding now. Okay. Well, I should have just stayed on high ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about contesting payload unless it's like right at the end, because like chances are someone else is gonna worry about that.
Oh my god, we're winning.
Like the soldier went here, even though it's by no means soldier's job. Even the soldier was like, "I'm gonna go and touch that," because I swear, in like the lower elo you're at, like everyone is like,
Payload.
objective, objective, payload, payload, payload. And I was like, I've even heard people say point, 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 point in my games today, and I was like, yeah, what about point? We have it. It's already capped. Like they're so fixated on this point thing. Where I was like, I was pushing bridge on gardens with Sire with charge, and they just started saying point like right after the fight, and I'm like, but we already capped the point. Like we won the fight, capped the point pretty early, and now you're like point, 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 point. Why point? Why?
Did you
So
say that to them?
fixated about. No, I didn't say anything.
You should have. You should have told them I am a pro coach.
No, because if you say stuff to people, people rarely actually, like, people rarely want their views challenged. And if you start challenging their views, it can tilt them, it can annoy them. Like it's rarely actually gonna do any good for you. It's probably just gonna boom out your team. So at that point, I just keep playing the position that I know, understand the fact that help is at point if I need it, and then I just, if I need help, I'll just move to point, because I understand now that one of them is very fixated about being on point. So adapt to what information you have. Don't try to change it.
I always just tell people come high ground. Come high ground
I mean, you
beside
can you
point.
can you can you can tell them that. You can tell them that. Absolutely, absolutely. I could say come bridge, but don't challenge their proposition. Like, don't go like, actually, you shouldn't play point. It's a waste of space, and like you shouldn't worry too much about the point and the objective. You should worry about the fight. Don't do that. That's just gonna piss them off. Do not do that. You're gonna lose more than you're gonna win. People don't like to have their views challenged. That no one really does, I guess, but some people are extraordinarily bad at it. And if someone is gonna challenge your views, who is a random Overwatch ranked player in a gold like or plat or a diamond lobby, like who are they to tell you to change your views of things, right? There's no tangible credit for you. You're like just a random name, a random person.
Well, they should get to know my name.
In the same elo as them. So how do you have the authority, the audacity, you know?
Focus on the tank. Listen to your tank.
Because I'm the Giga Chat. I play the Giga Chat role.
That automatically makes me
I mean,
the
it's just the
captain.
fact that tanks player are just like, 50% like cooler than everyone else.
It is a fact.
This is a fact. This is a hard fact. Not of I like I might be biased here,
And
but
then
the
DB's
eye
a
is silent.
50% dweeb, so
No. Just this where you go. I might be biased, but the eye is silent.
wait,
That's one of my favorite new like sayings. I might be biased, but the eye is silent. Put sunglasses on. All right, let's see the atrocity.
yeah, we got 4 minutes to
Atrocity?
attack. We could literally, it's atrocity. We could literally
Yeah,
build up 5 ultimates here and just then alt dump, but we're playing Widow, so alt dumping here doesn't make sense. Or building up
it's not
5 ults to alt dump.
not atrocity. Atrocity.
It's atrocity.
Atrocity. Okay, got it.
So like, yeah, what would your opinion on that be? If we didn't have a Widowmaker, just build up 5 ultimates and use 5 ultimates all in one fight.
Um. Well, my opinion of overtime is always the certain ultimates that are really good for overtime, and
Because
it's
it's some form
stuff
of
that
point. Yeah.
anything that forces point really well, like Blizzard, Flux, Graph,
EMP?
Bomb, EMP, exactly. These are really fucking great because the thing is like um not when you have 3 minutes per se, but let's say it's not in this current state, but what a tip I can always give people is if they had pushed like all the way over here and you now have like let's say you pushed all the way over here and then
They have
blue
to
is
get
now
there.
defending and blue has, let's say they have you can't see that for shit, can you? It doesn't matter. 30 seconds. We say they have 30 seconds, yeah? Then basically after those 30 seconds where they're defending, or like let's say you have 30 seconds. After the 30 seconds of defending, you go into overtime, and you just have to win one time when it's overtime and hasn't reached the point yet. So
Yeah.
you can wipe the objective by just putting a blizzard on payload. What are you gonna do? In order to contest the payload, you have to get frozen.
Yeah.
And if you're frozen, then well, you're pretty easy to kill. So like I will always think about this, but I think honestly in this scenario, I wouldn't like because the issue with farming up 5 ultimates is the fact that doing that they're gonna win and they might still have ultimates and like I don't know. What I would do rather is because this is one fight territory, I would rather just farm ultimates as soon as you have the advantage, pop ult. Like if you have Grav and you've killed Soldier, grab like Bap or Mercy and kill them,
And then
and
just
you've
win.
probably
Yeah.
won the map. Yeah, it's because like you just at this point, like because it's such a short push, you just try to snowball. You're trying to snowball. Like why would you spend the time farming 5 ultimates and then maybe even have that fail? Whereas you can just
Yeah,
get
just
your
play
ultimates,
the
get a
game.
pick. They play like honestly, just play the game, play the advantage here. Don't get fancy with it.
I don't know why I
There,
read
there
that.
are scenarios where you can get fancy with it, and I guess like especially like as we coach the White Jaguars, we'll get into those scenarios where you can get fancy with it, right? But right here, right now, don't get fancy with it. No reason to. You only get fancy with it if it's smart. It has to be fancy and smart. My, we have a need.
What's a need?
I not that's a Reinhardt.
Oh, that is definitely a Reinhardt.
That's a Reinhardt. That's a need.
I should have just swapped. I should have just insta swapped Monkey. To be fair.
Monkey would be really, really good here because like the
He's
Reinhardt is
not.
not
Yeah,
protecting
he's
those
not gonna
people.
protect them. Yeah.
Nope. It's one of the big issues with Reinhardt. Don't tell need. Um
He actually messaged me when Overwatch 2 released, and he was like, "It was so fun playing tank with you." We played 2 scrims at that point.
mhm.
Like, this guy, he was immediately getting sentimental that we weren't going to play tank together.
Oh. I mean, I honestly understand that as someone who's played tank quite a bit.
Yeah,
I understand the losing your tank duo.
it does suck that I'm not going to get to play tank with some people ever again.
Custom game sort of thing. And you can still still play open queue.
It's not the same.
stack double tank and open queue. Well, I mean, open queue is just like it's just 4 tanks and like a Moira or a Bath. That's all it is. Because tanks are just giga buffed.
I'm really trying, but I'm throwing there. Really
Yeah,
bad.
I was gonna say we're not really
Melee
pushing our
range.
advantage, and we're in the range of the Reinhardt a
Reinhardt,
lot. And it's
yeah.
like, what? Like, are we gonna kill this May? Probably not. Like,
But like
why?
I see the BAP and I try to grab him, but then like he's doing some somersaults over there. Just go over to the BAP. Do you see him, Don Main? Just don't unpause. Just go over to the Baptiste.
No, but like, here's the thing, right? You have charge. They're playing Ryan. Move up here? Question mark. The Ryan either is forced to follow you and lose a lot of his value, or the Ryan is just no longer a threat. Now, once you have this position, we have access to the Baptiste, and we can beam down the Baptiste. That might force him out. All right. If we force the Bap out, where's the healing for the Ryan?
Yeah.
Now we poke Ryan and May with these 3 people here. We take space. It compounding value. Compounding value. Stop tunnel visioning. Stop it. Anyway, go to the BAP. You say. Okay, I'm going to the BAP. He
Oh,
Superman.
I thought those were his legs going over his head. He is definitely in the ground though right now. I love this. I love the
I mean,
Overwatch 2 replay. It's so great.
I mean, to be fair, the Overwatch replay in Overwatch 1 was great. For like, I don't know, 2.5 years, there was a bug where if Reinhardt fire strike, like sometimes on the replay viewer, if it happened out of your like loaded area, like if you were over here and the Reinhardt then fire strikes, and you come back, there's just a ghost fire strike just mid-air, just like just a fire strike like here, and it would just stay there. It wouldn't move, but it would have like the burning animation, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't move. It would make the sound and everything. There would just be a fire strike there. I wouldn't do anything. And like I've seen it so many times, and then I was doing VODs for people, and they're like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a replay viewer bug. It's just a ghost fire strike. It's not actually there, but yeah, it's gonna stay there for the rest of the game, and you're gonna be able to hear it for the rest of the game. Tough luck, you know." Anyway,
I've got a bubble. I've got Grav. I wanted to grab him, and then he pops up Matrix. And
this entire play would have been great
if I was on the left side, if I just
if
rotated
you
away
were
from the Ryan.
just
Yeah.
here. Like you don't even have to be too much like because at that point like solo graph the BAP. Just be like, you know what, BAP? Screw you. BAP, you're no longer a part of this fight.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
care.
actually, hold on. Rather than doing that, I just grab the like the little signpost you see like beneath where the soldier stood, because that's within graph range as well. So you see like yeah, like the little lower bit of high ground in front of the sign.
You could probably just graph that corner there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and I probably would have caught soldier as well. So I would have got
Wait,
2 people with it, I reckon.
I know that it doesn't matter, but I only just realized that there's a
A square mechanic.
oh my god, I don't have to draw square. Wait a minute. Hello? I also definitely have the paid version of this program. Right. I knew I could. I knew I could. Like I knew I could go like.
High
Wait,
emoji.
actually, I knew I could do that. Right.
Yeah. Oh, you get emojis as well.
Oh, that's just standard. Like you can do this in anything. You just like you do Alt and then like you can use the like numpad stuff to do different emojis. That's just standard like Unicode.
I didn't know that.
You can do it in Overwatch. Like, have you never seen me do it in Overwatch? Like,
I
wait, hang
have
on.
seen it, but I didn't understand how people were doing it.
Oh wait, I'll show you. Hang on. It's just like so like in Overwatch, I've often done the hang on, I'm trying to. I've often done that like emote.
Yeah. You're not in a channel, Mick.
Oh, you're not online, are you? So I can't do it. Lol, I'm still not on the channel. Okay, doesn't matter. Anyway, now you know. Coaching you on how to be a degenerate socially in Overwatch. Yeah.
I just get caught up by Blizzard.
Okay. Monkey. I was gonna say the monkey swap is coming, right? Because you did realize at the time as well.
No. So immediately make like a smart dive. Why am I not showing the Missy? Um,
To be fair, that is just kind of like the most difficult part of this map done with one jump.
yeah. And then like I want to kill the Mercy, and we do kill her, but she gets the soldier, and I'm like, kill the soldier, kill the soldier, kill the soldier.
I always make it a big point though. It's like if you really do not like in ranked, not in scrims, but in ranked, if you really don't want to play monkey, there is a way to make Saya work here. There is an optimal way to make Reinhardt work here, and you can climb with those characters.
But you
I
have to be
always make
really
that.
good.
You have to be smart about it. The thing is, like, a
Yeah.
lot of people is like, I've always said this, especially for lower elo. You hear this like, oh, we need to swap Genji because they have Monkey. We need to play Reaper because they have Monkey. Monkey needs to swap because they have Reaper. We need to go Reaper because there's a Roadhog. We have to swap the Roadhog because there's a Reaper. We get the McCree. We can't play Reaper because we have the McCree on the enemy team. And it's like, if that was actually how this game was played, then the pros would be swapping like
All the
every
time.
fight all the
Yeah.
time. And it's like, you I understand tangibly that you've heard about counters. And yes, countering is a thing, but countering happens partially in a character and partially
Partially in
the way
play
you play
style. Yeah.
in a play style, right? And if you understand that they have a monkey, like, yeah, obviously don't dash into the monkey with Genji because you now used your only movement ability to get into the effective range of something that's just gonna not even have to aim at you. Like, yeah, no, that's not smart. No shit. Like, I mean, what do you think happened in the Genji, like in the original dive meta? Because Genji was in the original dive meta.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like you play Genji Tracer Monkey, and then it was like, sorry guys, we can't play Genji. It's they have a monkey. They have a monkey. We can't. It's impossible. So it's like I'm always just like, you need to understand, especially the like. It sounds really harsh, but the lower you are, the more you need to understand that you're probably not losing because of what you're playing,
It's how you're
but
playing
because
it.
of how you're playing it.
Yeah. I
And
understand
also,
this.
And also, if you just invest more time in learning how to play your character, you're gonna get an increase. Whereas if you keep swapping and trying to play like 15 different characters, you never really perfect anything. And also, I would even say if you hard lose to being countered one game, but then continue to play like that two characters that you were comfortable on for like 15 other games, it's like, okay, 1 in 15 games lost, that's not gonna be a big deal for you as a player. Really, it shouldn't be a big deal. So a little bit of we're going a little bit into philosophy here as well, game philosophy.
Yeah, I was already aware of the philosophy. At this
Yeah,
point,
I,
are you telling me that you don't think this game should be over though? And this is what really annoys me. This game should really be over. We don't have any ultimates. We shouldn't need the ultimates.
well, this would be over if you had a good team and you just basically sat your maybe Genji on this payload and had your Moira up here, and then you like closer to here so you can bubble, so you can stuff the choke. But since you're not stuffing the choke, or since you're not looking for like one of the three places they can come from, and you're like you've already considered this a win collectively, there is a very real chance that they'll just walk over you because you're not ready to intercept. You should always be ready to intercept.
Bad jump. I lose BAP because of it. And then I'm trying to get him. I didn't melee. He probably dies if I melee.
You're not very adamant about getting him though. That's one thing. Like for me, it's like just that's a half HP BAP. Just you could be like a psychopath. Just like run for him. We're kind of like back and forth, with kind of looking. Like, why? It's a half HP BAP. What is he gonna do? Like, what is he gonna do?
Same jump again.
At this point, I would say don't stress it.
No.
Like because it's the last engage. So if you take an early engage here, like a quick engage, doesn't matter because you're not getting any further fights after this anyway. So the most important is to get the right engage. So I would just really like I would like premeditate this a little bit more than just jumping the high ground. Think about what target am I going for? Am I gonna bubble immediately or am I gonna wait a little bit in hopes that I can get back another jump and burst down that squishy or maybe rotate somewhere? Like think about these things, premeditate the play here because there's only gonna be one play anyway, so you might make it the right one.
Yeah, and you're right as well. I pop bubble immediately, and because of that, the next engage is hard. Don't know why we rotate through tunnel.
Don't know if I can jump that because your splash damage is likely gonna take out that lamp. And then you have two people there. I know there's a disruptor shot, but you have a Moira with you, and disruptor shot doesn't do that much damage. At this point, I would be very careful to not just abandon your backline as well. This is a good pick. Jump back to your backline here. The tank is out. Don't at this point, right? Like right there, you
Should've
have
just
a
jumped
jump
back.
because yeah, exactly because when primal ends, you always have a jump. Because that's just how primal works. It's not much to talk about there. But like at this point, you go in, you get the value here by primaling. This is okay. I tell you, I would be worried about abandoning my backline here, but Reinhardt doesn't really get any value. This might have been a big mistake against like a Saya with high charge that would just go down, beam them down, right? But at this point, it's like okay, fair enough. We get the BAP. At this point, the Reinhardt is not in the fight. We can just dive back to our backline and help them deal with whatever is contesting the payload. By the time Rein gets back in, we have the value. Just jump back to the fight here. Especially now, he's very much out because he doesn't have charge anymore. Gonna do this. Actually, that's not very well placed. Gonna place it more like. Why does it move down when I do that? That is. Why does it move down from where I started it? This is a paid program. I mean, okay, I didn't pay for it, but. We'll do it there. Right there is a very, very winnable fight for you. But for some reason, we are on a Reinhardt. That took painfully long, but I feel like this should feel painful for you anyway. Like, it should feel painful. This is just, like, pain is an excellent teacher, as Senyata says, right? Just, pain is an excellent teacher. And I feel like this should be painful for you. That should be painful right there. knowing that you could have just ignored that Reinhardt jumped and probably won the game.
Yeah.
Frustrated? Use that frustration.
Frustrated. Good. Use it.
Exactly. Like, I'm glad you got that reference. I was like, he's a tank player. He'll get it. He'll get it. He plays Sire. He'll get it.
Well, you have to be mad. It's only a game.
Well, you have to be mad. It's only game.
Spam voice signing that after you just grab solo grab somebody and teabagging them is great.
Well, you have to be mad. It's only game.
Yeah, it is only a game, but it's a game that I want to be good at, so I am mad.
Don't be mad.
It's whatever. It was console games, and I was just like, I said that to them afterwards. I was like, I know I kind of threw in some of these games, but it's console, and I don't really care. And also, it's stats that matter, not losses. So I hope you guys aren't too mad at me for kind of throwing a lot of these.
Don't be mad, because mad backwards is damn, and a damn holds you back. I've
Where
just
do you
come
get
up. I
these?
just came up with that. That's just something my mind's just thought about. Yeah, don't worry about it. It happens.
I did have like a Giga Chad brain play, like a Giga brain play though, in one of the games, and I said I've just carried,
Mhm.
and then I also put because we were playing against somebody that we knew, and I put Motordiff in the chat, and
Moted.
they all insta left, and they'll never know that they lost because of my call outs, but they did.
I just realized I can balance one of my weights on my other weight. Yeah, it's like
Dumbbells.
I don't know what you call them. I guess they are. But I can like balance them like where it's like the ends of each one of them. If you put them like slightly like askew from each other, it fits in and it can kind of balance on the other one without me holding the second weight. If you hear a loud bang in a second, I've dropped it. Just like boom. Like a plate smashes or something like that. Just like
Okay, so objectives then, like what do you want me to focus? So who am I shooting? So don't shoot the first person that I see. Still, focus squishies. Don't get within melee range of Reinhardt. Play high
Yep,
ground.
play high ground.
A resetter's
Yeah.
poke is still a little sticky note on the bottom. Use first bubble to gain early charge for poke.
And then once
Chamber
you have one and
walls.
a half bubble, and you have that, if you get 40 charge and you have one and a half bubble, look at the fight, find the easiest or the best path and the best position to get access to the best target, which isn't necessarily a support or a other squishy. It's just who is gonna have a hard time dealing with me on them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, go in, use the one and a half bubble. So you use the first bubble, you gain back the second bubble. Use that to stay there for in a good position. Remember, you can still rotate as you're doing this. Like you can still play optimally. If the Reinhardt is pushing you, you obviously do not want to deal with that, so you move away. And it's like the thing is like there's so many paradigm shifts in one fight, and you're not shifting
With
with
them.
them.
Yeah.
No, like you need to adapt to the paradigm shift.
So okay, I've got rid of a resetter's poke off my monitor because there wasn't enough room. Win fight, not cart. I'll remember. I'll remember what that means. That's right next to
Mm-hmm.
high ground as well. So those two to me kind of just scream. Think about where you're stood. But
Absolutely, absolutely.
and then obviously, who are you shooting? I'll remember that. That's a key phrase. Not the first person. Not the first person
Literally,
coming
like
into sight
you
lines.
should literally do what one of the people I coached did. He was like a giga chat at improving, by the way. I've never met anyone improve that quick. He went from 3.3 to 3.9 in the matter of like 1.5 months, basically.
Holy, You need to do this to
Yeah,
me.
he played so much, and the guy is like he's a machine. Like he's actually a machine. Like you tell him something, and he just never doesn't do that anymore. Like he never forgets to do that. Like he just did it. Guy's a beast, or was a beast anyway. I think he's heavily autistic because the way he worked he worked differently. That's the only way I can put it. But anyway, he literally like whenever we did these sort of like points of interest, he actually took in real life sticky notes and just put them on his monitor, like
Yeah.
on the side of the monitor.
I'll send you a picture of my monitor right now.
Dude, he's the first one I've ever heard say or do that because, and then after that, I always tell people because they're like, how do I best remember this? I was like, literally, if you have post-it notes, write it on a
I
post-it
bought
note.
sticky notes for this reason.
Yeah, exactly, and just put it on your monitor. And like, really, it's like, yeah, I thought it was weird at first. I heard this one guy I coached, he did this, and then I thought about it, and it's like, actually, yeah, that's a great idea. Like that is they're right there. You can just read them when you're playing. And they're like, but I don't want to put stuff on my monitor. It's like you can just put it on the border. Like it's fine. It doesn't have to be like
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I
yeah,
do.
yeah,
There's
exactly. Just put it the side of the monitor, right? There you
I've
go. Done.
although I was told as well though, like I'm very bad for not looking at the mid game. I look at them between games and stuff.
Look at them whenever you die.
I should do that, yeah, but I don't, which is bad. But um,
Hey
yeah.
yo.
So that's yeah. Look, I mean it's sideways, but you can see that I've got sticky notes
So
on there.
how much street cred do you get at college if you like reach a high rank? Like, do you get like massive cred or?
Well, I peek check people all the time. All right, I'm gonna end the recording now.